Hello and welcome to the WKYC studios, the Austin Love in the Land podcast. We are so pumped to be here. And on today's episode, a man that has a title that I've been striving for that I didn't even realize. It is an amazing title. He is the president of pizza and snacking at Nestlé. And most people are like, Nestlé, chocolate company. Not anymore, ladies and gentlemen, and haven't been for a long time because they have all your favorite brands like DiGiorno, new wood fire pizza.
Amen to that.
Absolutely. California Pizza Kitchen, Tombstone, Jack's, as well as others. I'm sure I forgot a few, but he managed a team of a couple thousand people. Do you know all their names?
I know many of their names.
Many of their names, 100%. And he does it without breaking a sweat. I've never really seen him in action, but I'm just assuming based on his candor. He rose, is this true? He rose from the ranks of an intern at Nestle.
This is true.
To now the president of the division.
This is true.
Look at you, ChatGPT. I can really rely on that. That is fantastic. We have Mr. Adam Graves here, president of the pizza and snacking division at Nestle. I mean, thank you so much for coming on, man. It's great seeing you.
Thanks. Always great seeing you, Austin.
Absolutely. I like to start out the interview with, people love just to put people in a box, give them all titles and all of your accomplishments and all the things that you manage or X, Y, and Z, anything that you can Google or take off ChatGPT. But in your own words, how would you describe yourself?
Yeah, I would say I'm a warm and approachable guy, have a growth mindset, love to travel, love to meet new people, and love to have, key relationships in my life where I can continue to get to know others like you. I mean, we've known each other for a few years. Yeah,
I think we met 3 or 4 years ago now.
You guys came out to our Nestle Culinary Innovation Center, tried some pizzas, and did a segment. And since then, we've stayed in touch. And it's been great to see you and your evolution, man. Congrats on all your success.
Man. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I will say, it's like, I've met a lot of people. I've, interviewed a lot of people. And there's just some that you click with kind of instantly, and I feel like we had that, and stayed in touch on LinkedIn, and then out of fate, I was at my wife's my uncle's Memorial Day party.
That's right.
And just so happens in Chagrin, and next door I hear, "Hey, Austin," and turn around, I'm like, "Oh, what's up, Adam?"
That's right. Blossom time in Chagrin Falls, a great local experience, and we actually happened to be at house parties that were next door to each other that day. It's great to run into you again.
Yeah, absolutely. So just kind of, we're going to get to your background. We're going to be talking a lot about, your career, kind of the ins and outs of it. But give us a little bit of a overview of kind of what you do on a day-to-day, what you manage, and the whole deal, just so we can kind of set the stage there.
Sure. So fortunate to work for Nestle now for 20 years. My current role...
what a career, man.
Thanks, man.
Look
Appreciate
at you go. We'll just going against the grain.
We'll talk more. A couple decades in. Now, but manage what we call pizza and snacking. These are household brands that are frozen food products. So think DiGiorno.
Yeah.
California Pizza Kitchen, a couple of examples on pizza, Hot Pockets, we have some Stouffer's Bites, all based here in Cleveland, Ohio. We've got 5 big kitchens around the country, and Nestle products in 97% of U.S. households.
Yeah.
And our products are going to be found in probably one of 5 households, any one of our brands. So that's a lot of families that we're feeding each and every day. And that's what we get to do, and we're proud to do it.
Sure. And, with a job like that, I mean, did I see correctly that you guys own 30% of the frozen pizza market?
You've done your homework.
Look at me go.
Right around a third of the pizza market.
I'm not just a pretty face and a nice head of hair. My goodness.
Yeah, man. Right around 30%.
That's insane.
Yeah. It's a big business. I mean, pizza in the United States, to give you a sense of just the magnitude of pizza, is a $50 billion space. So those are the dollars that all Americans spend on pizza every year.
Is that just frozen pizza or pizza in general?
Total pizza.
Okay.
So if you're ordering, if you're dining in, if you're having frozen's only about 15% of that.
Okay.
And so for us, the opportunity is there's 85% of the occasions that we don't participate in today.
Sure.
But I mean, Americans' love for pizza continues to grow each and every year.
Yeah.
More creativity, more innovation, more excitement, new trends, new crust types. It's a fun space to work in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, congratulations on being so in shape. I would be huge.
Oh, thank you. I try. There is a toll that it takes, right? I do eat a lot of pizzas every week, but I try to get out, try to stay active. And
sure.
Sometimes you can only take 1 or 2 bites, but you want to keep going. So.
Hey, 1 bite, everybody knows the rule. Dave Portnoy.
Everybody's familiar with that one. For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. So with that, I mean, give me a day to day. You're walking in. You are the big wig, of course, of pizza. Mm-hmm. What is your main focus walking into the office every day?
Yeah, I mean, you say bigwig. It's interesting. My son has asked me, like, hey, did everyone do what you told them to do today, Dad? And I said, yeah. My 7-year-old son, Mike, I'm like, look, man, that's not the way leadership works. Yeah. So when I walk into the office, what I try to think about is, look, there's all these folks that are in service of the consumer.
Sure.
How are we making this happen for the consumer? And a general day can look like, planning meetings, how are we coordinating our activities to make sure everything happens efficiently and effectively, customer meetings, we're reviewing the business with customers, big retailers here in the United States. How's the business going? What more do you need from us? How's our service? Are there areas where you're getting feedback that we need to work on? Meetings with our counterparts at a strategy level in Switzerland. Nestlé's a Swiss-owned company, so we have contact with those folks. There's more meetings than I would like, but I also try to get out as much as I can into stores. So last week, we went into stores here in Cleveland, Ohio. So we went into your usual suspects around the area: Walmart's, Giant Eagles, Heinen's. Look at the products, look at the category, understand, are we meeting the needs of people each and every day?
And when you say that,
for their families,
not just as like you're meeting with these people, but are you kind of going in incognito, or are you meeting with them and saying, like, you walk into a Target and or are you just like walking in and just checking to make sure that everything's good? Or are you actually sitting down and meeting with these people?
We'll do a bit of both. So obviously we want to go in and get sort of firsthand impressions of what's going on kind of with shoppers kind of in their environment. Right? How are they shopping the shelf? What are they looking for? What attracts their attention? But we'll always, as a part of a store visit, let the store manager know that we're there, that we're with Nestlé.
Yeah.
And those are the folks on the ground that are making it happen. Like, what are you guys feeling? What are you guys sensing? How can we be a better business partner to you? Yeah,
I was kind of envisioning that you're coming in with like a fake mustache or a trench coat and a top hat or something like that.
No. Front door. Always come through the front door. Be transparent. I will tell you this though, that my wife to this day cannot stand to go to the grocery store with me.
Oh, really?
Because having worked, having been fortunate to work in so many different categories, I won't just visit the pizza aisle. I'll have 4 or 5 other spaces in the store that I want to spend time in.
Sure.
So she's like, look, we got to be efficient.
I'm so interested.
You wait in the car.
Yeah.
What she says, I'm like, I know, I got to go in and take a look. So,
what is? I'm so intrigued by this because there's such a science to the retail game, and once you kind of look for it and see it, you're like, wow, they're just real. It's such a science of like even where things are positioned. Yeah. Break that down for me. Number one, it's huge in your industry, obviously. But where kind of does that science come into play? And then there's probably a give and take with each and every, a Whole Foods is different than a Walmart is different from a Target. Yeah. Where does that kind of come into play? And what's kind of your biggest focus in making sure that your products are positioned the best way and that strategy behind it?
Sure. So think of it as a journey. Right? We all learn about things in many different ways. So obviously, we're mass brands. Mass advertising is a way that we generate awareness. At the end of the day, we've got to get through awareness to consideration, to trial, to the business is really about frequency.
Sure.
So we're trying to build loyalty. We're trying to build advocacy for our brands. So it starts really with, I'll test you on this one. So it's not delivery, it's
DiGiorno.
Okay. So
everyone knows that. Come on.
The organization spent a lot of time, sharing that message with people broadly. So that's the starting point. So
we've noticed.
People are generally aware of DiGiorno. Now they've got to go into a store or they go online. And how do you break through each of those places in the consumer journey where the consumer's got choice?
Sure.
Because we're not the only game in town. Although we're about 1/3 of the pizza category, there's 2/3 that are other options.
Yeah.
So we're a variety-seeking category. Every point in the journey, what we're trying to do is what's distinctive about us.
Yeah.
Right. So DiGiorno, the red.
Yep.
That's iconic. How do we do food photography on pack so it's enticing to the consumer to want to try if they haven't tried before? How do we delight the consumer with our product proposition from a consistency perspective, from a taste perspective, so that they repeat? Because it's really all about loyalty. Any business has to be based on repeat customers.
Yeah.
We will never make money as a business if you try us once.
Sure.
Right. So that's how we think about the journey. At the shelf, and since you asked about that, we refer to it as the first moment of truth, because for many folks, let's say they're an infrequent shopper in the category, they're going to go and they're going to be impressed by where we position. Are we at eye level? That says something.
Yeah.
What's our pricing relative to the other options? What's our shelf presence? Are we impactful? That has something to say about the choice that they'll make. So there is a science behind how do you signal or cue to me as the consumer to give me faith and confidence that I want to take my hard-earned money and vote for you, whoever you are.
How do you get on a better shelf than others? Is that a pay to play type deal, or is that just because you're a huge company, you know that the product's going to do well and they position it there? Or is it a little bit of both?
I mean, there's always more nuance to it, but fundamentally it comes down to, is this what consumers are asking for? Is this what consumers are buying? There are other factors for sure, especially when you think about new entrants to the category. If someone is a category insurgent, they've launched a new brand, they may come with an investment that could, tip the scales a bit. But over time, consumers are going to drive the preference, and that's going to be what retailers stock.
Yeah.
And that's the conversation all the time with them, is if you are what consumers are preferring every time they shop, you're going to get the best retail placement, you're going to get the in-cap displays, all the things that drive the business on an ongoing basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super interesting.
Yeah.
There's so much to it.
There is a science to it, but there is, I say this to people often when they ask about the frozen pizza business. It's easy to get into and it's hard to stay. So we actually have a lot of people who will say, hey, I'm going to go find a kitchen and use my own likeness and get a brand into the category.
Sure.
What happens about 6 months later is your velocities or your rotation at shelf, your sales at shelf, are not living up to the standard.
Yeah.
And then usually that person or that brand will move out. Someone else will move in and take that space. So there's a lot of folks that come in and come out. But brands like DiGiorno are here to stay.
Why is it that it's, you said an interesting thing, is that it's easy to get in, hard to stay there. Why is it so hard to be able to stay there?
Because consumers, particularly in food and beverage, tend to be based on rituals, on some level of consistency in terms of habit.
Sure.
Right, so you have favorite food types.
Yeah.
Within food types, you've got segments within the food type. And
DiGiorno pepperoni pizza. That's what our family always gets, and this is interesting.
All the right answers.
Yeah. Well, it's because my wife loves it, and I like it too. But that's the brand that we always get. It's because my wife wants it. 100%. You got it. Happy wife, happy life.
She gets what she wants. 100%. So this is important. You're a wise man, Austin.
That's what I'm saying.
One of the many reasons we're kindred spirits. So
congratulate me on all my success.
You were. This is a plug for Austin in terms of his wisdom beyond his years. That's awesome. No, I mean, ultimately it's about, if that's what I expect, all of us are looking for our lives to be simplified.
Yeah.
So simple choices are made through habits, right? Through disciplines, through rituals. A lot of that are the brands that we choose, right? It's an easy choice. It's a construct that I know I can trust, and it's something that if I know I buy, I know what to experience, I know what I should expect to pay. All those things build trust and confidence. So when you have that, that's how you get staying power. It's consumer loyalty, and we have to earn that every day because there's people trying to, present their own offering to remove that loyalty and gain it for themselves.
Yeah, and it's probably more of a thing now with DiGiorno, where if you ask most people to name a frozen pizza brand, that most probably, I would say 3 out of 5 would probably say DiGiorno.
More likely.
And probably maybe even more. It's such an iconic brand where there is loyalty there. How do you keep that loyalty?
Yeah. So keeping the loyalty
that has to be the focus now.
Absolutely. So there's a consistency play, right? And then there's a change play.
Yeah.
The consistency play are things like, it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno. We talk about that consistently. Mm-hmm. That's an equity we own. That's probably one of the more memorable brand taglines of anything in food and beverage in the United States. That's consistency. Innovation and relevancy is how you bring in new consumers, right? Because my kids are learning about the brands that they prefer from a lot of different places and spaces than I did, right? Sure. There's a lot more offering, a lot more choice than ever before. True. So that's ubiquitous. How do we do that? We do that through innovation. So, what type of pizzas are Gen Z consumers looking for? What's the crust texture? What's the airness? What are the attributes? So you've got to continue to evolve. Otherwise you get left behind. So but it's a fine balance because you've got your loyalists, which obviously you want to make sure that you're delivering for them, but you've got to be able to provide innovation to bring new consumers into the franchise, and then over time they will build loyalty on the new platform, the new product type, or the slight tweak to the offering.
Sure, and I'm curious with your marketing, who's your target market? Is it moms in between a certain age, or is it kids, or a little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both. So at Nestle, we start with consumer obsession. And consumer obsession, the way we look at a particular business, we'll take pizza as an example. There are segments of consumers. And it's not just demographics, right? It's preferences. Our core consumer, DiGiorno, we call the consistency seeker, right? Which is, I'm looking for a croissant, pepperoni pizza, and that becomes a routinized habit, and that's what I do, every other Friday, right?
Sure.
As an example, that's the core consumer. Then there are other segments that we go after. There are consumers that are looking for options that are better for you. I think we talked about this when we were together last time, gluten-free.
Yeah.
So I don't want to I don't want to have a compromise on taste. I want great taste, but I have a dietary, restriction or allergy that I have to manage. That obviously is a different expression in a different segment. So there's sub-segments, but when we think about, it over-indexes with families, it over-indexes with moms and dads that are looking to feed their families. It over-indexes with folks that are looking for a little more indulgence, folks that are looking for a crust, which, as you know, makes the difference.
Absolutely.
The toppings are great, but the crust is really,
100%.
I think you said this in the segment we did a few years ago, it's all about the crust, man.
Absolutely.
Like, you got to have a great crust. If you don't have that.
Especially with frozen pizza.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any pizza expression, you need a great crust. That's what's going to be memorable. That's what's going to keep you coming back.
Sure.
So there are core segments, but we look at all manner of consumer segments and what we would call growth pools, where we can meet new needs in different ways, and we feel like we're set up to do that or not.
Yeah.
A lot of it is saying we're not the best supplier. You got to be humble to say, there was a person that I respect deeply within our organization that has this saying, just because we can doesn't mean we should.
Sure.
And that oftentimes in a big company, we're predisposed to say, oh, we can serve everybody in every need in every space.
Yeah.
Okay, humility, maybe we're the best and maybe we're not the best to meet that particular need. So you got to be choiceful on who you're trying to attract and what your promise is.
Can you give me an example of that? Because I think that's such a good mindset. It's just kind of looking in the mirror and saying, knowing who you are, and being honest with yourself. Yeah. Give me an example of where that's kind of come up with you guys.
Yeah. I mean, an example that I did, in the past, I worked on the pet care category. I was in Latin America, and we were seeing a lot of, let's say, opening price point, dry pet food growing significantly. The country was going through some tough times financially. We had premium brands. And so there's a dilemma of, do we want to grow market share? Do we want to drive a proposition that's maybe lower value and doesn't stand up to maybe the product standards and the brand promise we have, launch a new brand? Yeah. And we wrestled with that. And in the end, we decided to stay the course and continue with the brands that we had, kind of play through the cycle and continue to take more of the elevated position than to try to position ourselves on the more value side. Did we lose consumers? For sure. Did we miss business revenue? For sure. Over the long term, were we best set up to follow the strategy and stay the course? We were, right? So that's an example of a choice.
Sure.
Where you have to just make a decision. And there's always tension. I mean, it's never easy. I mean, we deal with this in our own lives. Short-term benefit, long-term benefit. Yeah. Delayed gratification. Everybody talks about it. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
That's so interesting. There's so many things. I want to talk a little bit about you. You brought up Latin America, South America.
Latin America, yes.
Sure, yeah. You were born in Chile, right?
You have done your homework again.
Go.
Yes, I was born in the southeastern United States. I was born in a small town in Mississippi.
Okay.
Believe it or not. Lived there until I was 5.
Okay.
And my parents moved to Chile. And as I think you've heard me say this before, necessity is the mother of all invention.
Sure.
My parents said, "Hey, your friends are outside. None of them speak English."
Yeah.
You learn Spanish really quickly when that's the only currency you can trade on. And so, I was fortunate to grow up in Chile, move back to the States for college at 18.
Wow. That's super interesting. So, I mean, take me through kind of that as a little kid. You were probably young enough to know that you moved.
Yeah.
Obviously know that you moved. I mean, 5 is a decently impressionable age, but looking back now, what did that move mean for you? The most I think I've ever gotten out of the shell. I mean, I went to school in Iowa. That was like, hey, this is culture, baby.
Yeah.
Corn. I mean, you're talking about a way different wavelength.
The degrees of difference were different, Austin, but I think talked about this before. Whether you're moving across the street or across state lines or across the country or across the world, it's still a move. You've still got to rebuild your social network. You've still got to rebuild your self-confidence that you can, paint on this new canvas.
Sure.
There's a lot of growth mindset that's required to go through that. I think for me, it's sort of, like I said, you play the hand you're dealt. And so it was it seemed perfectly normal and natural to me. That,
sure, it's like, oh, everyone does this.
Yeah, everyone does. This is what we're doing. And so, so it was a great place to grow up. I mean, it's a country that's incredibly beautiful. It developed in me a couple of things. It develops a learning agility, because culturally I knew I was different, right? I was the guy that self-evidently was not from around there.
Sure. So get out of town.
I'm walking around downtown. I'm taller than everyone. You know the feeling. You're taller than I am, so you know the feeling. You're a tall guy. Not everyone is as tall. Blonde hair, light skin. Like, these are all things that maybe stand out. So you learn that part of it. You also learn that. People are people. And if you're open and warm and humble and empathetic, you can make friends anywhere. You can be embraced anywhere. I mean, you've experienced that. You're not a native Clevelander.
Yeah.
And, moving here, you're starting over. Right? You kind of got to figure out how you're going to make your way. So for me, I think that childhood experience, gave me that sort of learning agility and resiliency. Be open to whatever is in front of you, to new people, to new places, to new ideas. And it did. It gave me an empathy when I meet other people who are, let's say, whatever the situation is, they're clearly not from this context.
Yeah.
A lot of empathy for that, because it's not easy.
Yeah.
It is not easy being the new guy in town.
Sure.
It's not easy being the new guy in the country, but there's parallels there. So.
Sure. Maybe even on the other, side of the coin is that, talk to me about then transitioning back into the United States. You went to, remind me where it's
Samford.
Samford. I want to say Stamford, but I'm like, no, it's Samford. Yeah.
Stan, not Sam, not Stan.
Yeah, there we go.
Easily confused. Yeah.
And what was that transition like? You're a big chunk of your life, obviously, in Chile, and kind of growing up there in a very moldable time of your life, and then transitioning back into the United States in college.
Yeah, it was that was very interesting. I mean, I looked the part.
Sure.
But clearly everything was new and different. There were a lot of cultural references. My wife, Allison, will still give me a hard time on this. There are things that I just missed, and people would make a movie reference or, kind of just anything in society that was going on.
Sure.
And I'd kind of get this glazed over look and be like, you don't know what we're talking about.
You had no Adam Sandler references.
None. Eventually, like all things, you gain these references and social cues, but we forget, in our day-to-day interactions, we talk about sports and we talk about politics. We talk about things that are going on in society. And when you miss most of your high school years and you go into college, I learned to nod a lot more and just say, I acknowledge that is a thing, but you're not laughing. This is funny.
Yeah.
So there were things I missed. So I was a little, let's just say, there were times, you could talk about it like, I was hydroplaning a little bit socially.
Sure.
Right? But the tires came back on the road.
Yeah.
And you kind of find your grip and you steady yourself. But there were moments where I would encounter things. If you're familiar with the movie Princess Bride.
Yes.
So Princess Bride is a movie that
marriage.
Exactly. It's all dry humor, right? It's got that genre. The first time I watched it with a college buddy of mine, they're all laughing when Wesley falls down, and I'm like, he's going, as you wish. And I'm like, this is a sad scene. Like, he's hurt. I totally missed.
Someone call the paramedic.
I totally missed the punchline just because I didn't have a construct for that particular type of humor, and I'd never seen the movie before.
Yeah.
And they're all looking at me like, "What's wrong with you?" Like, and now I get it. But
how interesting.
You just miss these things that they're okay. And we had a lot of my friends were great. We had a lot of laughs about this. So like, okay, we're gonna bring you on the cultural journey, my friend. Let us know where we can help you and fill in the gaps that you missed.
Yeah. Oh, that is hilarious. So it's different, but regardless of, helping people integrate. I had a random roommate in college who was from South Korea.
Okay.
And his name was Byung Jung-wook. And it was so interesting, because we became kind of cool. Like, we could barely communicate.
Yeah.
But I would show him around and take him to bars and stuff like that. And I was like, I want you to have the full college experience here.
And I'm sure he was grateful because you made the effort, right?
Yeah. I was grateful because I thought it was super fun to be able to do it.
Absolutely. I had a couple of friends that I grew up with that were, in high school, and they came and visited me at Samford. So for them, it's like, what is going on? Everything's different, but it was the same experience you described. As it was a joy for me to take them around and show them around and see, their impression for the first time. I took a good friend, this concept of, this concept of a buffet,
Yeah.
which we all appreciated in college when our metabolisms were maybe a bit more in shape to be able to digest that quantity of food.
You're getting the pizza, the corn dogs.
All about value,
all
right?
the ranch,
all
baby.
about value. So this guy's like, I want to go to a Chinese restaurant. He's Chilean. He's like, I want to go to a Chinese restaurant. I'm like, we're going to take you to a Chinese buffet.
Yeah.
He's like, what does that mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I said, you pay one price and you can have everything you want for as long as you want.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Until you pass out.
Mind blown. He had no idea what. So we took him there. I mean, he ate more than I've ever seen a human being eat. And then we finished. We went back to the dorm where he was staying with me. He's like, I'd like to go again tomorrow. I'm like, are you sure?
Yeah.
He's like, that was amazing.
I feel like a prince.
This is a new all-American experience, a Chinese buffet, because, where I grew up, we had restaurants, but the idea was it was all a la carte. Like you had
Sure.
it was menu, right? The idea of a buffet is a uniquely American experience. That my fellow college student from abroad was all in on. He loved that.
That is awesome. I've never thought of that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's insane.
I'm not saying it's necessarily a good tradition that we have.
Well,
but it made an impression.
People say
made a lasting impression.
You know what? They say Americans don't have culture. Explain buffets to me.
Buffets. Take someone to a buffet. Let them decide for themselves what they believe it is or it's not. Right?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So you're at Stanford. At that time, what did you want to do? What was kind of your dream job? What were you studying?
Yeah, so I grew up in Chile. I grew up in Chile in a time where the country was making a lot of economic progress. So the country was really developing. The private sector was really developing. That was providing infrastructure development. I played basketball for a team at the time that was sponsored by a large company.
In Chile?
In Chile. So I had this sense.
Were you just balling on everyone?
I was pretty good. Some of the guys I ball with on Sunday and Wednesdays are going to see this and be like, we don't know that he was that good.
Yeah.
So, I'm not at my best at the moment, but I was fairly good in high school.
Yeah.
And what my sense was, look, I'm interested in business. I'm interested in the impact that business can have for good.
Sure.
Because I lived it.
Yeah.
So I saw society uplifted. You saw people's incomes rise, like their opportunities, their prosperity. So I went to college with that in mind, that I wanted to study business. And I wasn't sure exactly what I would do, but I wanted to have it be part of a positive impact more broadly.
Sure.
And so that was kind of the concept. And I was fortunate to meet several mentors when I was in college that really fueled that and said,
Sure.
look, like you have the potential to do well in business. Keep in mind that someone, with your value system and all can have a positive impact through a lot of people. One of my mentors who was a minister said to me, and he was a minister, then went into be a business school professor. And the reason he did that is he said, I found that the values of the community were a lot more defined by the business leaders than by whoever was in the pulpit on Sunday. That always resonated with me because we spend a lot more time in work with each other out in the world than any of us do in a particular religious institution or a group of people that we gather with not as frequently.
Sure.
And so that resonated with me in terms of, hey, business leaders can have a tremendous impact on people, on culture, on society.
Yeah, that's such an interesting perspective. Because when you're going into church, you're on your best behavior.
That's right.
And
minding your P's and Q's.
But if you're able to, and not saying that like not go to church, obviously, or make your company the church, but being able to have those positive, influential leaders in business, and that's a day to day.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think some of the best business leaders, find a way to weave in purpose and impact in a positive way. I mean, obviously the bottom line is the bottom line. You've got to drive revenue. You've got to win in your business. But the businesses that stand the test of time have a larger purpose. There's a social contract with why they exist and what purpose they're serving. And that always resonated with me. I found it very powerful. And there's, companies, again, we talked about people that come and go from a particular business. There's companies that come and go. A lot of times it's because they lose their true north or their North Star on purpose. And it can be any manner of things, which is why you always got to go back to reassess and say, hey, is this part of our purpose?
Yeah.
If we're here to serve consumers or customers in a certain way, are we staying true to that? And so it's always a good gut check that you do day in and day out in business.
Is there something that you specifically do to keep that gut check, or is it just over time, or is this kind of ingrained?
No, I'll give you an example. I mean, we'll be in a discussion, on product or pricing or distribution or advertising, any number of things related to the product, and one of the team members or I, in some cases, will say, hey, consumers in the room with us. What does he or she say? right?
Yeah.
So, and by the same token, we're a large publicly traded company. Okay, well, what would a shareholder say?
Sure.
Right? Both of those stakeholders, if you will, are not in the room physically, but you have to bring them into the room.
Yeah.
So that's a practice that we try to use, particularly when it's not clear, which is usually the case of there's trade-offs. How do we manage the trade-offs? Okay, well, what would the voice of the consumer have to say at this moment? What would the voice of the shareholder have to say at this moment? That helps keep you, voice of the customer is another one. What would these stakeholders say? Another one is this something I'd be proud to, tell my mom.
Sure.
Right? We all got moms.
That's a good gut check.
If you're proud to tell your mom about whatever it is, you feel good about it. And so I think those are good rituals that you can implement. But yeah, I've been fortunate to work for a wonderful company. Again, 2 decades now, 4 different countries, and very different places. But my values have always been very much in line with the company. We may not always get it right, but we're going to work to get it right and make it right and do the right thing.
Yeah.
And that's not always easy.
No.
Right? But that's that pursuit of a purpose that I think purpose-driven leaders are always on.
Sure. So you start as an intern. How did you kind of get into Nestlé?
Yeah, so I went to school at business school in Arizona called Thunderbird.
Okay.
Thunderbird is now part of ASU. It was a standalone school at the time, but the mix of the student body
what a
at
bad
the
name.
time, it is
Thunderbird.
Well, so the story of the school
it's
is
not even our mascot; it's our name.
It is the name. It was a former Air Force base.
Oh, interesting.
In Arizona, and a guy named Kyle Yount, I think that's right. Who served in World War II, said, hey, post-World War II, we're going to need leaders with a global mindset.
Sure.
And somehow, I think he was an officer, was able to procure the base and turned it into a business school outside of Phoenix.
Wow.
In Glendale, Arizona.
Wild story.
So he starts this business school as a standalone, and effectively, when I went there, it was what it started out to be, which was a big, a meritage or a mosaic of students from all around the world. So it was about 50%. U.S. passport holders with significant international experience, either like myself, fortunate to grow up internationally, or had served professionally or missionaries or something like that outside of the country. And then the other 50% were all international students.
Interesting.
So we had kids from all over the world, and it was fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about business case studies. How does a Japanese student see that versus a South African student versus a Paraguayan student versus a U.S. student?
Yeah.
And you really kind of push against each other. Great learning environment. So I went to school there. That was the credential I needed, the MBA, to have an opportunity to interview with Nestlé and a lot of other large consumer goods companies in the States.
Sure.
Nestlé resonated with me for 2 reasons. One, growing up in Chile, Nestlé has a tremendous presence in that country.
Oh.
So I knew household brands, had some affinity there. 2, I knew it was a very entrepreneurial company because food is very local.
Yeah.
So unlike, let's say, consumer personal care goods like toothpaste or deodorant, those tend to look the same no matter where you go.
Yeah.
But food and beverage looks very different. And so there was a level of empowerment that I felt I would get as a leader, and that's been true 2 decades later.
Interesting. Yeah. So, okay. So you go from intern, and was there ever, I'm sorry, I should have read your LinkedIn a little bit further. Bring me through the progression of your career.
Sure.
Did you've just, we're intern, you're like, I'm locked in at Nestlé.
No.
You never did you ever go work somewhere else?
I did. I worked for a family-owned company out of Kansas City for 5 years. A wonderful gentleman who's still a mentor of mine, and sort of learned a lot of different aspects to business. Think of it as a management apprenticeship.
Sure.
That's what how I would describe it. That laid the foundation. I learned a bit of marketing and sales, and that's what the credential that I needed to go into marketing at Nestlé. My internship was in marketing. I had a few folks at the time that said, you really should go in and learn sales.
Yeah.
And, is the old adage, marketers and marketers and salespeople tend to be like dogs and cats at times.
Yeah.
And all the marketers said, well, if you go to sales, you'll never get back.
Sure.
And thankfully, I listened to people who had a little more experience and said, actually going to sales is going to make you a better marketer. So you should go do sales. So I was in sales for a while, then marketing. I did not think, Austin, probably like when you started your career, there were kind of two, everything's kind of binary. The younger you are, it's like, I'm going to be here forever, maybe, or I'm going to be here for a year.
Yeah.
Right. There's nothing in between.
Sure.
And everything.
My first job, I had a hard date. I was like,
this is it.
2 years. So.
I will make it 2 years, check, and I'll move on. So there was some of that going on at the time, but I love the company, continued to learn, and just continue to get opportunities. And so I started in LA in our office, what was at the time our U.S. headquarters in the LA area. Then I was here in Cleveland as a brand manager. Then I was in Switzerland in a strategic planning role. Kind of got a bird's eye view of our businesses for pet care and for food and beverage all across the Americas. So Canada all the way down to the Southern Cone. Then I was in Bogota, Colombia for 3 years, running a pet food business under Purina, which is part of Nestle Purina. Then I was in Canada as president of Nestle Waters for 2 years.
You're just a product of the world, my man. How many countries have you lived in?
Very fortunate. I've lived in 4 countries, I'd say, not permanently, but semi-permanently.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Visited a lot more, but had meaningful, deep experiences and felt like I put down roots in 4.
That's wild.
Very fortunate to do it. But then moved back to Cleveland. I say this often. My wife and I have been married 21 years. We've moved 7 times, but we've only ever moved back to one place.
Cleveland, baby.
That's Cleveland.
What keeps bringing you back here besides, your job?
In terms of Nestle, it's our people, it's our culture, it's a wonderful organization. I mean, here in Cleveland, as an example, we're much bigger than people realize.
Yeah,
we're over 2,500, actually closer to 3,000 total employees. We're actually the biggest Nestle campus worldwide that's not a country headquarters.
Wow.
Which is big. I mean, our whole organization globally is over 270,000 people.
270,000. I never.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's insane.
It is a mid-sized town.
Wow.
Of people spread across the world.
That is Akron.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's Akron in close to 190 countries.
Wow. That's like Akron in Canton, basically.
Yeah. So it's a big group of people in the aggregate. Here in Cleveland, we've got, several divisions, frozen foods, which is kind of the epicenter worldwide for frozen foods for Nestle. We've got food service, we've got an R&D center, we've got 2 manufacturing facilities. So this community of close to 3,000 employees, we have folks that are on the third shift that are hourly workers, making, mac and cheese.
Sure.
And then we've got folks that are PhDs in food science at our research center out in Solon.
Yeah.
And kind of everything in between. So it's a wonderful group. I hear often from people in the community, I have a neighbor who works for Nestle. Do you know him? Many times I do.
Yeah.
What a great neighbor, such a great person. And that, gives me a lot of pride.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, we're a quieter company. We're Swiss, and so we don't tend to, speak loudly. But we're a huge organization. Like I said, close to 300,000, over 90 billion in sales, in 97% of U.S. households. If I went to your pantry, freezer, fridge, I'm likely to find one or more of our products. But huge presence here in Cleveland.
Definitely a pepperoni DiGiorno.
Definitely a pepperoni DiGiorno. I love it. But yeah, it's a great group. That's what keeps me coming back. I mean, wonderful colleagues. The world gets smaller. I mean, Cleveland gets smaller the longer I'm here. Nestle has gotten smaller the longer I've been privileged to work for the company.
Yeah, that's awesome. Talk to me a little bit about, your maybe management style and kind of maybe your focus. I feel like so many people are like, this is my task today. This is my job. I'm in marketing. I'm in sales. I got to go out and shake hands and kiss babies and the whole deal. Or like with the president, what is your main kind of focus? Because it's probably less on doing and more of, what's the right word?
Enabling.
I don't know. Yeah. So
removing barriers. Right?
Sure.
I mean, and how do you do that?
And helping people work efficiently and do their job.
Helping people be successful. And so the way I think about it, it's, the team and my leadership team, we set priorities. Right?
Sure.
We call them must-win battles, right? This is what's going to make the difference in a given planning cycle, right? Mm-hmm. For the year, let's say. For this year, these are the things we have to achieve, must wins for us. Out of that, you cascade into maybe more detailed tasks or milestones that have to happen, and we do some monitoring of that. I'm not a big proponent of oversight.
Yeah.
And it's interesting when you say oversight, you think of someone looking over your shoulder, or being,
or micromanager.
Being kind of overboard on it. There's a fine balance between, general direction and then specificity and accountability. And so the team and I are trying to, keep that fine balance. So we're keeping the organization on track, focused on the right things. Managing, the team and I talk a lot about trade-offs, right? Because you got to make choices in business. You can go right or left. You can, move forward or pause at times. And there's a moment for all that. There's a season for all that. So a lot of it is around trade-offs. A lot of it is around a concept which we're all familiar with, and I talk about insurance. And so it's, what does insurance mean? Well, insurance might mean we have to carry more inventory to make sure that we have enough inventory to serve.
Yeah.
Well, if you carry too much inventory, you run into other issues.
Yeah.
Right. And so a lot of that, we just talk that through with the team on, how do we make the best choices we can so that we're serving the consumer, the customer, the shareholder, our people, to make sure that they're set up for success. A lot of that is through, at times it's clarity, at times it's an escalation. A department might say, hey, we feel like we've got enough information for this, but it's of a material nature that we want to engage with you on.
Sure.
And sometimes I'll say, I think you can make the decision.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll say, well, no, that is something that maybe I can make, or something I need to take to my manager and say, I need you to be aware of this, or I need your support on this. But yeah, it's a lot of day in and day out choices that all of us make in our jobs. It's not vastly different. But the enabling word, I think, is the key word.
Sure.
If the team is successful, if business is successful, I get to be in many cases the first recipient of that success. But it's shared. It's all about the team and all about the collective.
I give you all credit.
Well,
all of it.
That's very generous of you. I can tell you the not deserving of that. Yeah. But I what I try to do is put people in the right position to be successful. It's kind of like a coach, right? Yeah. You're trying to help your players be in the right position to make the right play in the right way at the right time, all the time. And all the time is hard, right? Yeah. So more often than not, usually is a good measure for progress and positive outcomes.
Adam Graves, the Andy Reid pizza and snacking.
Wow, that's humbling.
Look at that.
That's humbling. Andy's 0-2 at the moment. Yeah. I don't want to timestamp this. But
I'm more or less just generalities.
The arc of Andy's illustrious football career. Yeah. He's had a good run.
Yeah. I'm curious how a large organization like Nestlé, corporate, I'm sure there's a lot of chains that we're talking about here. How do you guys remain or try to be as nimble and flexible as you can? Because regardless in innovation or whatever it may be, that comes into play. But while also having, a huge organization, a huge bus that you have to move along the way,
Yeah, I think a lot of that is, where does empowerment sit? Hopefully empowerment sits with the group of people that have the best information, that are closest to the situation, and they feel empowered, they feel confident to make the decision. The way we're organized is really relative, Austin, to the type of business we're in. I'll give you a contrast to make the point. Pet care is an example. Dogs and cats around the world, their nutritional needs and their taste preferences are pretty similar. Yeah. So if you're in France or you're in Colombia or you're in Canada, it's fairly similar. So that organization tends to be managed a bit more regionally. Sure. And is in my experience a little more specific into what the strategy is because it's so similar. What's different about frozen foods is that's very unique to the United States, although you do see frozen foods in other parts of the world, but the large business where consumers really have built scale in service of the category is here in the US. And so that's a bit of a different touch in terms of management involvement and layers and input and guidance and approvals. Yeah, if that makes sense. Yeah, it just depends on the business that you're in, and that's something I would credit Nestlé with. It's based in Switzerland. It's almost 160 years old. Yeah, wow. The early days of the company, the people that were there knew, hey, Switzerland, today is only 8 million people. Mm-hmm. They knew, hey, we'd have to have a management and a leadership approach that would empower local individuals to make good decisions based on principles. Yeah. Consumer trust, consumer quality, non-negotiables, safety, things like that are non-negotiable, of course. But anything that is in service of the local consumer, it's best made locally. Yeah. And so so that depends. Once again, if you're in categories that travel a little more analogously, that's a bit of a different construct. Sure. Which you see with a lot of other American-owned companies that are in personal care. as an example.
Yeah.
I mean, how the hair product, which by the way, as always, people thought I had great hair until
you have great hair.
Until we did the last segment, and they said, whatever Austin's doing, you need to take a tip. But yeah, I mean, whatever hair products you're using, personal grooming, those over time tend to look a little similarly.
Sure.
Human biochemistry is pretty similar around the world, but food preferences are so unique.
Yeah.
It's about the ingredients that are available back in the olden days when we didn't have as much access as we have now around the world. It's about food rituals. It's about, your grandma's kitchen. I mean, all these things come into play with how you want to consume food and beverage products. And so that, food tends to be a lot more local than, say, other consumable or durable categories.
Sure, yeah. And a new category that you guys are kind of coming into is the wood fire pizza.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Oh, yeah, baby. So I am super curious about, because I was thinking about it. I'm walking into the aisle. How do I find a new pizza? It's either I see an advertisement or I'm, in the frozen section and I'm like, oh, wood fire pizza. And like, schlubs like me are like, oh, that just appeared. For you, it's probably, how many year process is that?
Interesting. Hopefully everyone's going to learn about it through the podcast, and they're going to go out and buy wood-fired pizza.
Agreed.
By DiGiorno.
Agreed.
I'm going to look for the spike in sales as soon as soon as we're on air. I'd say, look, this one was one that, in some form, had been worked on for over a decade.
Wow.
So, a gentleman who is in a more senior position in our company, who's now based in Switzerland, who was here on the pizza business almost a decade ago, when he visited a few weeks ago, said to me, wow, it's great to see that you guys finally were able to launch what we knew at the time would be a game-changing pizza for the category.
Sure.
So in some, we all stand on the shoulders of those who came before us. This is totally true. But this particular project, if I think about, kind of the decision to launch to the time we launched it, about 18 months from when we said, okay, we feel like we've heard from the consumer. We see the trends in the United States in terms of crust type, in terms of the preference of a wood-fired styled pizza. We feel like we've got the right naming convention, the right attributes that we want to present to the consumer in terms of how the crust expresses. All of that came together, and then it was, aligning the manufacturing and the launch timing, working with customers, making sure we were hitting when they wanted the product to be distributed.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, on the fast side, you can do this in a little bit less time. But the real work was around 18 months.
That's not crazy.
It's not crazy. I mean, this for us was historically, we would have a longer time horizon.
Yeah.
But again, that's where if you go back, you say it's 18 from the decision. There was a lot of consumer, very, very deliberate consumer work done.
Sure.
In preparation for this. So it's hard to pin on innovation. I always find it's hard. People say, oh, well, from idea to launch, we did it in 6 months. There were always sort of embers that were starting to fuel the fire before that. I've been fortunate in my career that a lot of times I've come into a job, you do a lot of time listening in your first 90 days, and there are already, seeds that have been sowed. You're just putting on fertilizer, right?
Sure.
And you're just bringing those things to a decision point where you can move forward. It's not all that often in food and beverage where you are. There is an innovation that you take all the way from something that is truly a novel concept all the way to the shelf.
Yeah.
In your tenure, you're always kind of picking up on cues and clues that have been laid down before.
Yeah.
Then you act.
Sure. So with bring me kind of everything. First off, is an investment. How much of an investment is a new product launch? Like, especially like this one?
Yeah. So on this one, advertising wise, it's between 20 and 30 million that we're investing in advertising. To make sure consumers are aware of this, because in the frozen pizza category, you've got $7 to $8 billion of sales, a lot of variety. You got to let them know.
Yeah.
Right? Let
them know.
Let them know, baby.
The Cavs.
They're going to let them know this season. I have full confidence in the Cavs. Very bullish on their prospects this year.
100%.
Hopefully everybody stays healthy and they can go further than they were able to this last season. They had a great regular season. A lot of fun. But yeah, you've got to let consumers know. And so, most people, humbly speaking, are not, walking to the frozen pizza aisle on an exploratory journey without some sort of a prompt.
Sure.
So think of it as a prompt. I'm just prompting you with this advertisement, whether it's a billboard or it's on your device or it's on television, whatever the manifestation of that is it's a cue to say, oh, wow, I didn't know that DiGiorno could provide me a wood-fired style pizza. Yeah, I'm familiar maybe with rising crust, right? That was really the kind of the original game-changing launch.
Yep.
Freshly baked in your oven, the rise that's visible, the transformation. Stuffed crust was another innovation that DiGiorno brought to the market a little over 10 years ago. But more and more, people today are looking to go to a restaurant and they see the iconic looking wood-fired oven.
And they smell it.
And they smell it, and they want the char marks, they want the crispy edges, they want the pillowy, airy center.
Yeah.
That's what they want. And so DiGiorno, we felt, was the right brand to bring that to the table. And, I'll ask you, what would you expect to pay for a high quality wood-fired pizza if you were not at home? You're out with some friends.
I would put it in the category of, and I'm basing this off of Three Palms. I think their pizzas are about $14 to $17.
Okay, so that's probably the range, and that's Cleveland, right?
Yeah,
and so other markets, coastal markets,
maybe closer to. And that's what those are smaller.
I
don't freaking know.
But you're in the ballpark. So this wood-fired pizza, we've offered it to consumers, and our suggested retail price is $6.49.
Oh wow, yeah, that's half.
And that's a bit of how DiGiorno historically has brought value to consumers. I mean, we fully believe there's an occasion out of home. There's an occasion, where you're going to have other food choices, but where you're looking for a phenomenal pizza at a very affordable price, I would encourage everybody to try it.
Go check it out.
Give it a go, man.
Yeah,
give
baby.
it a go.
Actually, let's get some quick hitters.
Sure.
What do you think?
Let's do it.
This has been awesome, by the way.
Love it.
I've had so much fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, of course. Yeah. No problem.
Always great. Always great to be with you. And this has been a lot of fun.
What is maybe the best advice you've gotten in career or in life or whatever it may be?
Yeah, I think I'd say two pieces of advice. One that I would share with people is focus on what you can control. That's stoic mindset. Focus on what you control is always sound advice, because there's way more that you can't control that you're experiencing, particularly how we're inundated with messages these days.
Sure.
Just focus on what you can control. The other one that I've found helpful is this too shall pass. This too shall pass you can use both when you're going through a hard time and confidence that you'll get through it. We've all been there, faced adversity, whatever the situation is. But also when you're having a moment and someone's telling you, oh, you deserve full credit.
Sure.
This too shall pass. So don't get
too high, don't get too low.
Yeah, don't get too high, don't get cocky. Stay humble.
Oh, that's so interesting, because
stay in a range.
When you say this too shall pass, I feel like everyone always thinks about the negative.
Yeah, no. Hubris is on the other side of you not remembering this too shall pass.
Yeah.
All of us have had our podium moments.
Sure.
Our few minutes of fame. That's intoxicating.
Yeah.
And so, thankfully, my board of directors, whose name is Allison, who you've met before, she will always remind me that this too shall pass. I'll come, oh, we had a great day and this happened. And she's like, okay, well, the kids need to be bathed and fed. It's like,
right.
Okay, it passed.
Yeah.
The moment passed. So yeah, I think on both sides, it's just stay within a range and, try not to get too high or too low is always phenomenal advice for whether, but you're right. Typically we think of it as you're going through adversity versus staying humble when you're having success and you're receiving, positive feedback or positive, accolades or something in your career, your personal life.
Yeah. What would you say that your career or managerial in that realm, what your superpower is?
I would say what I try to make my superpower is to be a servant leader. That's really it. At the end, I'm serving a consumer, I'm serving a customer, I'm serving an employee, I'm serving a stakeholder, a shareholder. And I think as long as you approach the situation with that mindset, I mean, you're hosting me. How can I serve you, right? How can I be the best guest I possibly can be? Yeah. I think that's the best way to go about, your day-to-day life and to lead people. It's a little bit of, I've used this, you're probably familiar with the platinum rule. It's like the adjustment to the golden rule of do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Yeah. Platinum is do unto others as they would have done to themselves, right? Oh. Which for me, as I've traveled around the world and been in other cultures, kept me in a place where I could manage my blind spots.
Sure.
Because I may have had a set of experiences that would leave me like, well, this is what I would want.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's not what the person, on the other side of the situation wants. So really trying to be empathetic, trying to sit in their shoes, meet their needs, whatever the needs are.
I like that.
Yeah.
Locally, when you're not eating DiGiorno pizza, what is your favorite restaurant in Cleveland? or in the area?
Yeah. No, a couple. L'Albatross has been a favorite since I was here in my first tour.
Yeah.
And the second
Zach
one.
Brule.
Phenomenal service. Love French food, and they do a really nice job. And it's also one that's relatively easy access to where I live. The closest one to me that I tend to frequent is JoJo's in Sugar and Falls.
Yep.
So great place to go have a drink, have dinner, and love JoJo's.
Do you have any insight, except being a Sugar and Falls guy?
Yeah.
Do you have any insight on if Taylor and Travis are moving into the neighborhood? What's your insight?
I have none, and I'm probably the only person in the Cleveland community that I've talked to that will honestly say I have no insight. Everyone
claims to have some
everyone
insight.
claims to have insight.
Yeah.
I've been amazed. This has been a phenomenon in the last few social settings I've been in. Everybody's like, oh yeah, like they've got an agent. Or they've got some like tidbit soundbite that they dropped. I'm like, where did you? So
also it's unprovable.
It's absolutely unverifiable, and it is. It's and I think people. This is now. There's like a social virality to this.
Yeah.
That someone who heard someone else say it is now claiming it to be true. So there's a lot of that going on. I have no idea.
Were you the one that took the picture at JoJo's?
I was not, but I, like everyone else, received the picture.
Where were you when they were there?
I was in the office at the time, but one of my colleagues' spouses was there and did take the picture, so I can verify that they were there in confidence. But what I would say is, it'd be great if they moved here. I can tell you, my 15 and my 13-year-old daughters would absolutely love it. If Tay and Travis moved to the area.
Your house price would go way up, which is great for you.
I think everything in Cleveland would go up if that happens. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, we'll see what
you
happens.
have more insight than I do, man.
I'm in commercial real estate. I have nothing to do with
You have inside baseball here. You're not. I'm
just trying to get the pressure off me.
Yeah. You're maintaining confidentiality, which is good professional practice.
Yeah. Fiduciary.
Yeah. They appreciate that.
What is Browns, Cavs, Guardians? Rank them.
Wow. I'm actually going to go, it's a tie for me because as much as
what a lame
well,
answer.
Give me a chance here. It is a lame answer. It's kind of a cop-out, but here's the thing. So I grew up playing basketball. I love basketball. The Cavs have been on a tear. Love watching the game of basketball, and it's something that my 7-year-old and I can enjoy the action up close. It's fast-paced. Love the Cavs. The Guardians, I didn't grow up with baseball. My dad did. But I've been very fortunate to get to know the organization.
Sure.
The front office, Paul Dolan, the owner, learn more about the name change.
Yeah.
And so there's I'm going to give the nudge to the Guardians just because as a proud Clevelander now.
Yeah.
The type of organization they are and the challenges that they've taken on and just how they operate top to bottom, it's a class act.
It is.
First-class organizations. Say nothing about the Browns or the Cavs, but I've just been super impressed, and I've been privileged to get a little more access to the Guardians and just love the organization.
Yeah.
And they're close to the playoffs now. I think we're a couple of games from making it into the wild card, so hopefully we make it.
Like the edge of my seat watching this race, and it's like time is closing.
Yeah.
We've lost 4 games in September. It is September 18th.
Yeah, but I think we're
That's
on
a hell of a run.
I think we're a 5-game win streak and like 9 out of the last 10.
Something like that. I mean, it's insane what we're doing right now.
Hopefully all this ages well, and by the time that people are watching it,
then we won the World Series.
We've won the World Series, and you heard it here first. We have
absolutely.
Full confidence.
Full confidence,
Full
baby.
confidence that the Guards took the series.
I got one more thing. Do you got a minute for us?
Absolutely.
Okay. I wanted to do the Mount Rushmore of pizza toppings. Because you're the pizza guy.
That's maybe the best question I've ever gotten on the business.
Yeah.
The Mount Rushmore pizza toppings.
I'm going to do so you'll go first, and then I'll go. You can't pick like something that I picked, and I can't pick something you've picked.
So we each get 2 because as I remember, there are 4.
No, you get 4.
Each of us get our own Rushmore.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's my show. So I'll do whatever the hell I want.
This is going to get really good once we get to 5 through 8.
Sure.
So let's go.
Yeah.
You want to go first?
No, you can go first.
Oh, you're very.
And I already know what you're going to say. On
pepperoni.
We'll say it at the same time.
Pepperoni is the first image on the Mount Rushmore of pizza toppings. Yes,
absolutely.
No doubt.
I am going to say, it's not a fan favorite, but I'm going to say it. I've loved it since I was a kid. I love black olives on my pizza.
Oh, wow, that's a
right. That's not a fan favorite. That's not going to win me any.
No. There would be a lot of visitors to the Rushmore Monument.
Absolutely.
And I wonder why black olives are number 2.
Yeah, like, what the hell's going on
here? How did these get here?
Yeah.
Thanks to Austin. Cheese is going to be number 3.
That's not a topping though. That's just
Oh, it's a topping, my friend. It's on top.
I can't argue.
It's on top. Sometimes it goes in the rim, like DiGiorno stuffed crust, but it is most often found in a topping.
Look who I'm arguing with here. It's the
cheese. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm making it easy on myself.
I'm trying to argue with the president of pizza.
Sir, I'm returning the serve to you.
All right. I like sausage. Let's rock and roll with sausage.
Sausage number 4.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with yellow peppers.
Yellow pepper? Like a banana pepper?
Banana pepper.
Okay.
Banana pepper.
Okay. I'm going to do sauce. I like sauce on top.
Okay.
Like some dollops of sauce.
Sauce.
Can't beat that.
Bacon.
Bacon's good.
Yep.
Bacon's good. So for yes. Done. Good.
Yes.
For a barbecue chicken pizza, got to have those bits of chicken on there. Bam.
Barbecue chicken.
California Pizza Kitchen.
California Pizza Kitchen barbecue chicken.
Lovely. That's pretty good.
It was wonderful.
Mine was, I think you won.
We now need to go have AI do the Rushmore of pizza toppings.
Yeah. It's someone's birthday here. Happy birthday, guys.
By the way.
Yeah.
I heard it was your birthday.
It was a week ago
September
yesterday.
10th.
September 10th.
Congratulations,
Thank you very much. I stayed alive for 33 years.
Hopefully it was a great...
Look at me go. It was a lovely day. Yeah.
Hopefully the next 33 are just as wonderful. Man.
I agree.
You're a great guy, and that was my homework on you. As I was like, Austin's had a birthday last week, so happy birthday again.
Thank you. I like to end it with, I've asked you a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for me?
Absolutely. One of the things I've appreciated about you, Austin, and this is your growth mindset. Like I've tried a lot of different things in my career. You came in and you were in, television, right? And you've moved into a whole new space with real estate, commercial real estate specifically. But you're doing it very differently. You're bringing a dimension of storytelling and consumer engagement and energy to what otherwise would be, your typical boring videos of a warehouse. How do you get inspiration to tell these stories, the special effects, the theater that you bring? Yeah. Talk to me about that.
Honestly, I've always just had a passion for video editing. Yeah. I've been doing it since I was in high school. Yeah. I always love people who are like, how can I make videos like you? I'm like, well, I started editing in high school, go to college and continue to do it, work in TV where you shoot and edit everything, do a few documentaries, and then go to commercial real estate. That's it. That's it.
That's the path.
Yeah, but honestly, I just love doing it, and I take a lot of inspiration off of I joke that I've never really had an original idea. I just take a lot of people's ideas and I kind of make it my own. Yep. But that's kind of creativity. That's kind of if anyone says that they've ever come up with an original idea, you're wrong, because I think it's come from something else. But it's just if you copied and pasted and it's clearly stolen, like that's a different story. But also too, like I have to flex a creative muscle or I would go insane. I would be so bored. Yeah. I kind of have to do it. And it just so happens that it really, and it's one of the things that I really kind of looked at commercial real estate of, leaving TV of where like a love that I had was creating stories and, being creative and doing video editing and things like that. I'm like, I could really bring this into commercial real estate and also be able to flex that muscle, but also life in general, this is entertainment, and
stories.
And it's stories. Yeah. And it's being able to do that. Who says that, just because it's been this the entire way, who says that you can't bring something new into it?
Absolutely.
And it's been fun to be able to do. So thank you for noticing. Thank you for liking it.
I love that.
I appreciate it.
Have you, follow-up question.
Yeah.
Have you had,
no, I gave you one question. I'm just kidding.
Have you had anyone that said, hey, I'd like to work with you directly as a result of the videos? And kind of what did that conversation look like? That's a novel dynamic for someone who's in your line of work.
There's a few different prongs to it and a few different strategies in my perspective of, number one, it's brand. I think where I've seen a lot of people are very, you were talking about short-sighted versus long-sighted. I'm very long-sighted in a lot of, my career, but specifically with building a brand online, is that I think where a lot of people, they've invested money or they've invested time into a video, and they're like, well, it's stupid. I didn't make any money in that. I didn't find any prospects. Right. But that's one video. And but also, how many people saw the video? Oh, well, I don't know, 300. And it's like, that might not seem like a lot on social media. Get 300 people in a room, and that's a lot of people. Or it's 5,000, or it's 10,000, or it's 1 million. You're being able to utilize a platform that other people aren't be able to. So yes, I do it for brand awareness. Number one, I post something, and if I'm working with another broker, and I say, don't expect to get anything out of this. Yeah. But expect that there's a brand recognition with it. That's just the baseline, in my opinion. But then you take it up a notch, and I've worked with numerous, and from that brand recognition, worked with numerous people who've seen my videos that call me and hey, love what you do. I want you to market my property, or I want you to work with me in a tenant rep, whatever it may be. So there's that. And then when you post a property about a video, or a video about a property, I've done numerous where there's been sales directly from it. Okay. We'll take, for example, Something Good Social Kitchen with Ricky Smith and Rake. Right. I posted a video there. Within 8 minutes of that being posted, he messaged me about it. 2 days later, we set up a tour, and then 3 months later, we signed a lease. And then 4 months from the actual video being posted, he was open for business. Wow! Like, that's great.
That's amazing.
And it was because I posted a video, and the video took me half an hour.
So many lessons in that.
Why not?
Love that, man.
The main lesson is utilize social media, whatever it may be, whatever you're comfortable with doing it in the platform that you're comfortable doing it with. You don't have to start a podcast. You don't have to do videos. Yeah. You can just be really insightful, talking on, like, having LinkedIn posts or whatever it may be. Yeah. I think you're just leaving so much, not even just money, opportunity on the table by not utilizing it.
Totally agree. Put yourself out there. Take a chance. Mic drop.
Mic drop, baby.
That's it.
Bam. Mic dropping. This has been so much fun. I feel like super fun. I could go. We've gone an hour and 7 minutes.
That, I don't know if that's a record.
That flies.
It's in the top quartile.
It flew.
We'll find out if that's good or bad.
I just find you're so delightful. What you do is so interesting, and I feel like it was a cool opportunity to be able to learn about something that's in a product and a product category that is in your day-to-day, but you know nothing about. It's kind of like TV. And it's all happening right here in Cleveland.
That's right, baby. Let's go. Right here in Cleveland. Let's go, Cleveland.
Let's go. Thank you, Adam.
Thanks so much, Austin. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Take care.